Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening's city council meeting. Sorry for the delay. We'll just classify it as a technical difficulty. City of Anamosa City Council agenda, regular session, Monday, July 10th, 2023, 6 p.m. Anamosa Library and Learning Center. 1.0 roll call.
Crump,
Here.
Smith, here, Zumba,
Here.
Stout,
Here.
Albert,
Here. Note 5 council members present in chambers, with no council members, remotely. 2.0 Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For proceeding, if you already haven't, please kindly silence your cell phones. Also, with 5 council members voting this evening, it will take 3 members to cast the majority for a vote to pass. 3.0 motion to approve the minutes from the following meetings. 3.1 June 26, 2023 regular session. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alan, second by Jeff. Council discussion on the minutes as they were submitted. Penny, would you conduct a roll vote, please?
Smith,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimously. 4.0 public hearings. 4.1 public hearing, community development block grant funds for the housing rehabilitation. Paula Mitchell, CDBG. Item 1, at this time, I will open the public hearing. Item 2, proceedings.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. Paula Mitchell with East Central Iowa Council of Governments. And as noted, the purpose of this public hearing is to consider the status of funded activities for the city's housing rehabilitation program, which is assisted through the Community Development Block Grant Program. And as you may recall from previous public hearings, there are some required points that we need to cover. So I'll try to work through those as succinctly as possible. As required for this hearing, it's noted that for a general description of accomplishments to date, a CDBG housing contract in the amount of $207,495 was awarded to the city of Anamosa from the Iowa Economic Development Authority with a release of funds issued on January 31st of 2022. For a summary of expenditures to date through June 30th of 2023, a total of $188,584.70 has been invoiced. Of that, $141,709.70 was for construction, and $46,875 was for grant administration and technical services. That includes administrative services as well as things like lead-based paint testing and remediation. Construction items included, but were not limited to the replacement of roofs, gutters, siding, windows, doors, and steps, as well as lead hazard reduction items. And for a general description of the remaining work, I would note that all 5 properties have been completed to date and that the grant is now in the monitoring and closeout phase as of the end of June. For a general description of changes made to the project budget, performance targets, activity schedules, project scope, location, objectives, or beneficiaries, it's noted that no changes or amendments have been made at this time and none are anticipated. And that's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
It appears there isn't. Thank you, Paula, for that update. Is there any other public comments? Being none, item 3, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to
Close
close.
public hearing. Motion by Rich. Alan, are you second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Council discussion on the motion. Benny, would you please conduct a roll vote?
Yes, Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Gumbert,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Motion to close the public hearing carried unanimously. 5.0 old business. 5.1 presentation, excavator cost benefit review and comparison, Steve Ignish.
Good evening, Council. Steve Agnes, Utility Superintendent. In your packet was a presentation that Robert put together. I have some additional notes that did not make into it that I'd like to go over quick, and then I will answer whatever questions you have. One of the things that Robert did not take into account when he was working on the presentation was emergencies. The rates that he used was like, normal workday type costs. That's not calling them at 2 a.m. to say that we have a water main break. So we don't know what that cost is going to be. We forgot about it. We overlooked it. So with that being said, if you do have an emergency, you're now at the contractor's, is it going to be today? Is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be next week? You don't know what their schedule is. And for example, like on a water main break, right now with the excavator, as soon as we find the leak, we can identify it. We can call in our locates in 2 hours. We can be working on that, whether it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's 2 a.m., it's 7 a.m., pick the time. 2 hours we can be doing when we have that piece of equipment. One of the other things that we needed to define a little bit more was on the cost of a small company. If the small company would come in to do the work that's in the presentation, that's not a dump truck. That's not including the cost for a dump truck that city staff will have to man. So you still have that cost no matter what. So that's kind of a wash. And you'll probably have three city employees there with a dump truck, 2 to be shutting valves and doing that kind of stuff, and the other one to be driving the truck, or maybe 2 trucks. It just depends how far it is to get rid of the muck. Also, projects that we do, like if we would need to replace a hydrant or valve, something like that, or if we'd have a sewer that we need to fix, we can try to schedule that in ours, where we might have a busy week planned and all of a sudden the contractor comes in and say, nope, well, this is the only opportunity I have to be here. So then we got to try to work around everything else is planned. So it screws everything up. A couple other things. Sorry, I'm kind of wound up about this, but I did do a little looking today. I went on a place called Machinery Trader, and they have one excavator that would be qualified, and it's for sale for basically $95,000. To value ours, it has twice the hours on it, has just over 300 on it. The thing that you guys may forget is when we bought that machine, it came out of the streets department, it came out of the wastewater department, it came out of the water department. So if we sell that machine, let's say we sell it for $90,000, just to use a quick, easy number, that means Shane would get $30,000 back in his equipment fund that he could pay for a dump truck. Wastewater would get $30,000 to pay for whatever. Water would get $30,000 then to pay for whatever. But we lost the equipment where probably 75% of the work we do is for the water, with water main breaks, hydrant replacements, valves, stuff like that. So the water budget is going to take the biggest hit if we lose this machine, because now we have to either, if you'll even let me rent one, or to get a contractor in, now we gotta pay their rates. And just for a snapshot, Monticello, Macokota, Mount Vernon, all towns relatively close to our size. They all have a backhoe, a mini, to do their own work. They don't hire that stuff out. Just for an example, there was a project that we did this spring that Brooke will attest to this. The fall last year, we had several water main breaks and several issues over on the west side of town. Brooke texted and called me several times. He said, hey, he says, I don't have no water. I don't have no water. Well, we found out that through the previous superintendents, there was a valve not too far from your house that had been broken closed for 20 years. Nobody ever bothered to fix it. Either whether they didn't want to get the contractor in there or what, I don't know. But just, you know, we was able to go in and do it. Some other things that we've done since we did the PowerPoint, we had a water main break, not last week, the week before, up here on 2nd Street. We was able to get in, get it fixed, and get it over and done with. We did a curb replacement with Shane on South Garnavillo. That would have cost, and we did all the concrete work for that too. So we did all the work and didn't hire any of it out. And then right here on the north side of the building, the engineering firm said that they needed this tile. So we was able to go in here and lay a field tile on the north side of the building with the excavator. Otherwise, it might have been $2,000 the library would have had to come up with to fix that. We still got to do some work out here on the west side, but you know, we all did that all in-house. So I guess, what questions do you have?
Well, one question I've got, I guess, is at the very start of your slides, you've got projects completed by the city.
Yes.
Can you just kind of walk through some of those?
So let's see. There was 3 water main breaks on the west side of town. There's been 2 water main breaks, and I apologize, I'm still learning the streets in town. I'm still struggling with that. So over between Oak and Dubuque, there's a water main in an alley, and we fixed that 3 times so far. Needs to be replaced, but we've had breaks there. We did a valve replacement on West Main and Elm Street. We did a hydrant and a valve replacement then on Elm and Hickory. At the wastewater plant, right up between the Aeromod and the building, when it was all paved, there was no outlet for the stormwater when it rains. So we went in and we got a box and put a catch basin up at the top of the hill at the wastewater plant, dug down the hill, buried some pipe in the ground to keep, because it was washing, there was a rut this deep washing down the hill already, washing all the rock into the fence and down towards the ball diamond. Hamilton Court, we did a storm sewer repair. We've done meter pits installations at Wapsie, and we don't know what to call it, but we call it the tree park since it can't be called an arboretum. And then Banana Park. We demoed the house. Yeah, Locust Walnut. We did that house demo when Chief took possession of that.
Mhm.
We did all that demo work. That house was the right size that we could tear that down. We hauled it all away. And then there was a building, the old bathrooms on at the Ball Diamond right behind the street shop. We did that. Right over here this spring was by 2nd Street lift station. There was a whole bunch of brush that had fallen in the creek and washed down the creek that was creating the log jams. We was able to reach down in there, get that all cleaned up, get the log jam, so if we would have rain events. Main reconstruction on Ford and Fifth, I guess that was more of like a water main break. And we ended up having to replace about 10 foot of main, which was only a 2-inch main. But, you know, we was able to do that.
But
There's been,
that's not the one you hired Boomerang to do, is it?
the one I hired Boomerang for was over here on East Main. And, oh, thank you,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
And the only reason I hired them is because Robert was gone and Curtis were both gone. And I did not feel comfortable with the level where the staff is. We're doing our best to get them trained. The last valve replacement that we did, or the water main break that we just did, Rachel and Jake, they just happened, I didn't ask them to come, they just come. We put them completely in the hole to teach them because we got to get them up to speed. I just didn't feel comfortable that I had the expertise to be able to run the machine and be in the hole at the same time to try to explain to them what to do. So with that water main break, since that was a 12-inch main, that was the best solution. So we saved a bunch of money on that by, all Boomerang did was bring in 3 guys, their excavator, they dug the hole, we hauled everything away, and then we filled it back in. So that's the only reason we hired Boomerang. If I would have had one of those 2 here, we would have fixed it ourselves. It would have been a no.
And that was the one where the water was running down and they made the kids from the Strawberry Hill go back into the building because of the water, right?
Could be, yes. I know we dropped the east tower, dropped down to, we almost lost it. It was down to like 6 feet. So. So,
No, it wasn't.
Did you, the tile, the meter pit install, demolished a house, no bathroom, 7 water breaks that I counted you talking about, maybe more. 2 valves, 1 hydrant, brush cleanup. Did you figure out what it might have cost the city to hire all that done?
I believe. We didn't get that specific. What Robert did was just said, let's say a project was gonna take 8 hours. This is what it's gonna cost us to do it. This is what it's gonna cost a contractor to do it. And then that's kind of the sheet. Jeremiah took the numbers and he's the one that built this spreadsheet off of the numbers that Robert put in here.
The Huber storm sewer repair,
Yes.
did we use our piece of equipment or somebody else's?
Came around streets department, we needed a small machine for that because we were under some lines that were too close. And we also had to dig right next to the house. That should never be there. That storm is failing. And that's because, not because of us or because of the storm, when they drilled in their telephone cable, it went right through the middle of our pipe. So then it made it weak. And then it started to rust because they knocked the coating off of it when they hydro excavated it in. We used Schaefer's and I called them and we ran the machine ourselves.
So the numbers you have provided are for contracting with somebody. But if we would just go and rent a machine and use our employees to run it and do all the work, the numbers would be different than the calculations that have been made or
Yeah.
presented to us, correct?
If we had to rent a machine, it would be more expensive. But like I said, in this project, basically it was all to rent the same machine, not to rent a small machine.
The thing with renting a machine is Saturday night, we have a water main break. you're not getting a machine from anybody.
Well, I'm just asking the question, Shane. I'm just
Yeah,
asking
no,
a question.
no.
So the next question is. If we had Schaefer's machine because it's smaller, should we get a smaller machine? That is capable of doing everything we need it to do?
No, no, the machine we have, I feel right now is the size that we need.
Okay,
Just the biggest reason that we rented their machine from them was because there was a utility pole right there at the street. And both power feeds come off of the utility pole and made a V
mhm,
about 10 foot off the ground. So by the time that you would dig and swing, you had a bigger chance, just because the boom is a little bigger on the machine that we have than the machine that Schaefer's have. You was gonna tear down the power line off the house. So that's where the conversation with us, with Shane and Robert and myself was made. And we seen if we could rent their machine from them to do the project for that one. All of the rest of the projects, we've needed that size machine. There's been a couple of these projects where we went out to Bard to get the concrete blocks to put behind fire hydrants for blocking and bracing. And if it's off in the grass far enough, we can't get the crane truck to it. So we have to use the excavator. And the excavator we have will pick that up and put it in there. So getting a smaller machine, would not help us. I think the size machine we have is a perfect fit.
I like the idea of your cross training. How many people are you training to run the machine? You got 2 or 3 of you that do that?
My goal in, cause it's not something you do overnight.
No, it's not. That's true. I agree that.
My goal within, a couple years is to have at least 5 of us, 6 counting Shane in the streets department, or even if he's got any of his guys,
Mhm.
but 5 guys in the utilities department to be able to get on that machine and run it if need be,
Can run it efficiently.
and run it efficiently. I know this was brought up.
From what I can tell you, you guys are getting more efficient at it and better at it. I know there was a couple boo-boos in the beginning, but everybody has to learn.
The mistake that we made, the accident we have with the gas line, I'll bring it up.
Yeah,
In that situation, we would have brought the jetter out. But at that point in time, we had a def tank fault with the jetter. And we could not bring it out of the shed. It would not run. It would start and it would idle, and that was it. I had Peterbilt there, the parts were on order, but they weren't there yet and didn't have it fixed. Otherwise, we would have had the jetter on the site and we would have been hydro excavating with the jetter, because we had a power line and a gas line in a 24-inch box trying to get down to the water main. So you can talk to any contractor out there. Everybody hits stuff. There's so much stuff in the ground. It amazes you. We do the best we can.
yeah, I'm not trying to back you in the corner. I mean,
I understand, Alan.
you guys, I haven't heard any problems since, and I think you're doing it the right way. Cross training is real important.
Yes, I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I wasn't trying to get people licensed, people to run equipment. Otherwise, I wouldn't make a good superintendent.
so you feel this is the proper size?
I feel that we have the perfect machine
Okay,
for what we're doing.
well, I just wanna make sure all the answers are there, and
Mhm.
I know you guys are working hard at it and everything, and I do think, though, we do need to make sure we get people cross-trained as fast as possible. Cause I know when Robert's gone, it seems like we're dead in the water with the machine right now.
Well, running the machine, I'm just as sufficient at running the machine as Robert. So that part's covered. The part that, like with the water main break where a line hit it, is the mechanics in the hole. That's where we want to get that first, and then we can build on the machine second. So.
Okay.
Also have any other questions for Steve? Item 5.1 is listed and was just to be a presentation. I will ask if there is public comment regarding the presentation. If there is none, I'm moving.
One.
Go ahead.
Nancy Schaefer, 803 North Division Court. The only comment I have, and I was looking through this, and I see you put a lot of thought into this presentation, but I'm not seeing expense on any of it, so.
Thanks, Nancy. 5.2, discussion and possible action. Purchase of excavator trailer for utilities department, Steve Ignish.
Okay, basically, this was like I talked last time. The current trailer we have is rated at 24,000 pounds. We are right at the limit and we need a little bit bigger trailer. The trailer that we have spec'd is a 30,000 pound trailer instead of a 24,000 pound trailer. It's a little heavier duty. It's got better jacks for making it easier to unload and load the excavator. So I included quotes from Right Way and Urbana Patent Equipment.
You're gonna sell the other trailer then?
It's getting traded in. It's getting traded in the packet, if you give me a second here.
The one's giving you what?
They're giving $7,000 for the trailer. And I believe in this, I put the bill of sale from when the trailer was bought. 4/9 of 2018, it was $7,670. So the trailer has retained value rather well.
Yeah, because the one company was going to give you 8,800.
Yes, one company did give us, the patent where we came from, but we feel that the B and B trailer is a little heavier duty. And it's just made down the road in Farley, thank you.
Yep.
I knew it was in here someplace. So if we need something for the trailer, it's close to go get parts from the factory. Where the other ones, I think they're made in Texas. The other ones are good trailers. This one's just like I said, a little beefier, a little better built.
So the trailer you're trading is only 5 years old.
Yes.
Who's pulling the trailer? I mean, I'm just everybody, or do we have to have CDLs for this or?
Right now, Robert, myself, Shane and Spencer are the only 4 that have Class A's.
Okay.
Because we have to have a Class A to pull the trailer.
Okay.
So. And that's the only 4 Class A drivers that we have in the city.
So I'm just curious, because you're carrying all the extra buckets on the trailer. How much weight do they add?
The excavator weighs 18.5.
Okay,
I believe is what the or maybe it's 19.5. I'd have to look it up. It's 18 or 19.5. I looked at it the other day and I'm sorry, I don't remember what it was. But the reason we did that was, so then it's one trip. Everything's right there. It's all in the trailer. If we need to switch buckets or we need the frost tooth or we need the breaker or the packer, it's all right there. It's one move, it's one trailer. It's not coming and asking for another trailer so we can put the attachments on it. It's all one package. You hook up to it and away you go. Everything's there we need.
Well,
trying
how
to
many
be
times,
efficient.
how many times do you change buckets out?
It just depends. It really does. But a lot of the projects, when the water main or the sewer or the curb, we need the breaker that's sitting on the front of the trailer, the hydraulic hammer. So that's the breaker and the packer are the two heaviest pieces. The buckets don't add that much weight. 300 to 500 pounds, probably for the other two buckets.
And what are you pulling this with?
The yellow dump truck that's down at the wastewater plant. Or if ability, one of Shane's dump trucks that has a pintle hitch on it also.
Okay.
You can't pull it with any of the, like the tonners.
No, we can't pull it with a pickup. It's too heavy. Empty you could. And Shane took the trailer empty to get the signposts in central Iowa. You know, we took everything off and he did that. But not with the excavator on it. You can't pull it with anything but a dump truck. You don't have the braking power or the horsepower.
But is that like those pieces of equipment? Could you have them on a pallet and throw them on the back end of the tonner to have there if you needed them? And lighten the load off of the trailer?
We could. But again, then if we need something, then you have to take away and I'm not saying that we can't use the tonner, but it's all self-supported. It's all one package right now. And you can see in the trailer, when you load and unload the excavator right now, that the back of the trailer is twisting. And I'm afraid eventually here, if we don't step up, that we're going to break the back off the trailer, to be completely honest with you, because it doesn't have the jacking and the bracing like the new one does.
It'll work well.
Yeah, it does. The ramps are already bending.
Yeah.
From loading the excavator.
Yeah, I can think of a couple contractors in the area that have like 3/4 tonner trucks that pull mini excavators. I don't know if they're the exact size, but I mean, that type of trailer and machine.
Example, when Boomerang fixed the water main for us up here, they come in with a 3/4 ton pickup with a machine on a trailer, but it wasn't the same machine. That was I think 2 size smaller machine.
I don't know how Schaefer's compared. I know Kraus has one. I've seen them on a.
Those
3/4
are
ton.
all lot smaller machines.
Okay.
I don't know what they weigh, but they're a lot smaller machines.
Any additional questions?
Well, I'm just going back just because you're talking about smaller machines and Boomerang having a smaller machine that they use to fix the water main. Just what exactly, and I'm just trying to figure this out, so bear with me, but why exactly do we need the size of machine that we've got then?
For the depths of some of the water mains and to be able to, the size of machine right now, if we wanted to go and do a manhole, we could do that because we have the capability to lift the cone sections. We could set them in place. There's no way that you'd be able to lift that with Schaefer's machine. You would not be able to do that at all. That's too small of a machine. We can lift, I think over the front is like 10,000 pounds. I don't remember for sure. I didn't think to look at that spec. I tried to cover the other bases. I didn't think of the lifting capability. But that's the biggest thing, is the lifting capability and the breakout force that machine has versus a smaller machine.
When Boomerang comes in and does stuff, how does their machine compare to the size we have? Is theirs smaller than or bigger?
The machine that they used for us up there was smaller, but you also have to remember they probably have smaller machines because then they have a lot bigger machines for the things that they do. So when they get into tight situations, they have the small machines. Otherwise, you know, they would do it with their big ones. I don't know what they have all for machines. I just know the one that I seen that day.
We replaced sewer lines and water lines very well back. Prior to having this machine, I remember what street it was on. You get, and that was all the way up the street, if I remember right.
You're talking like the Sycamore Street project and then the Booth and Ford.
With this machine we've got now, you could do that in-house.
We could do some of that. We would have to buy some other equipment to do that. But the other part of that was like the Sycamore Street project. They hauled in fill.
But what I'm driving at is, if this proves to be as expense efficient as you're explaining it to be, that's why I kind of wanted to know what the figures were. What we would have saved by doing all of this, and just said, this is how much we would have saved. It would have been nice to have known that tonight, but if it proves to be capable and monetarily efficient, as you say it is, that would be some, in that situation, it would probably be worth looking into that equipment later down the road if it proves to be saving us enough money to do that.
Robert and I have had conversations where there is a couple places where we think we could probably do just a couple of short stretches of water main and a couple of alleys where there's nothing else there.
Because it would save the city a lot of money when you get into large projects,
It would, yes. Yes, it would.
especially if we could do it in-house.
The biggest thing that you have to weigh, Alan, is how big a project do you want to take on? And, you know, as far as the time, because it does cut into some of the other things, you know, if it gets to be too big of a project. So,
Just thinking.
no, I understand.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying is if we're taking on a big project and we're focusing all of our energy on that project with our employees, what else may be slide?
Yeah.
You know,
If it
and
gets too big.
that's a balancing act that
Mhm.
can be kind of tricky.
Yes,
I mean, that'll be up to you guys to kind of figure that part out and let us know what you can do and what you can't do and how far we can go.
we
The more
understand.
money we save by doing things in-house, I'm like that.
Oh, yeah, but most of those other companies are on a time schedule, so they may work overtime to get it done, where if we're doing it, we're paying all that overtime plus IFRS and everything else, and
Yes.
that adds up
Yeah,
in a hurry too.
can't argue that point.
I will say, I think you guys have done your due diligence on this time, so I commend you on that.
Thank you. We tried to give it our best.
Cause I see this Rexco that's the one you want. correct?
Yes, the Rexco one is the one I want.
It's a little more expensive than the others.
Yes, it is.
Um, But it is built local, so that's a plus.
And I did put this in the budget. It was in the budget for this year, so.
What's the difference after trading?
Let's see.
For the Rex, for the Rexco, it's 15.5.
15.5 is
Yep.
difference on the.
That's for the Rexco, the one from Patton
Is $8,800
is, yep,
after trade. And then the one from,
well, no,
No,
it's 11,039.
yes, I'm sorry, it's 11, yes, it's 11,039,
And PJ's 12,800.
yes. So we're just over $4,000 more from the bottom to the top.
Do you feel that any of the three could do the job, or do you feel maybe one or two of them are kind of on the edge?
The biggest, the other two are they're pretty tough trailers. They look like they're pretty tough trailers. They don't look like they're quite as heavy as the B&B. And the other two trailers, the B&B on the back, right behind the axles. I'm gonna walk around and show you this picture of this trailer. And one of the big things that this trailer has, and I didn't think to bring copies of this, so is it has another set of jacks that's in the back of the trailer behind the rear axles to help support when you're loading and unloading, so you don't get that trailer tip.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. What you're saying.
These back.
Yep. That's the trailer you're looking at.
This is the one that this is the one we would prefer to have.
Yeah.
It is not an option on the other trailers.
You get a sense of bigger is better sometimes in this case.
I think it is. I think it'd be bigger. The little bigger trailer or the little beefier built trailer would be better.
I'll make a motion to purchase the B&B trailer.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Alan. So discussion on the motion.
What if we were to sell the trailer outright versus trade it in?
I don't know what the market is. Well, I said that, cost when we purchased the trailer was $7,700.
They're high, obviously.
Mhm.
So I think there's money left on the table if we trade that in.
Well,
In trading it for 7, right?
trading it for 7 to buy this trailer.
Just a thought. If they're willing to give you 7 grand for the trailer, they're selling it for more than 7 grand.
I totally understand.
Right. So
They're gonna want $3,000 or $4,000 more for it.
Probably.
And you're selling it outright. I mean, we bought and sold. Brooke can probably attest this too. We might be able to get a couple $1,000s more. Then again, we may not. It's depending who's looking for a trailer and how much they're willing to spend on a used trailer.
Yes.
the trailer in good shape.
Trailer's in good shape.
What year is it?
What's that?
What year was that one?
It was purchased in 4 of 2019
2018, I believe it
or
says.
20.
Hardly used.
It's here.
It's a 2018 trailer.
Yeah, there you go.
That
2018.
trailer was down at the wastewater plant
Yes,
down there.
this is the trailer that the previous superintendent had bought.
It's hardly used.
So, and it really
Well, about the only thing it's been used for is, aside from being a stage, is hauling the backhoe around, so the excavator.
Yeah.
And the only damage that could have happened is backing off or loading it.
We've been very meticulous. One of the things that we did, when we put the boom down on the excavator on the wood deck is I went up to Marion Iron and I bought a piece of plate and screwed it to the deck. So that way, when you set the boom down, you're setting it on that piece of plate and not garfing up the wood deck. So I tried to do my best to. And the only other thing that I did is because the way we have all the attachments on the trailer is I extended the front headache rack to help hold everything
You
in.
know anybody that might be interested in that trailer to buy it outright?
No, I do not.
What about Boomerang? Think you might be interested?
Uh,
Wouldn't hurt to ask.
I have no idea, Alan.
Wouldn't hurt to ask.
Right.
I know I voted to buy it, but before you trade in, well, wouldn't hurt to ask. You may want it to haul something around.
I'm not in the market for a trailer of that size, but if it was offered to me for $7,000, I would write you a check for it. But I don't want it. I'm just saying that that is a killer deal, and to just give it away for $7,000. I think we're leaving a few thousand on the table, at least two.
There's a
That's kind
couple,
of what I was thinking.
there's a couple of websites that we can list it on, that we can do it for free, that are. IAMU's one, not Iowa Rural Water. There's another one. I've listed Shane's dump truck on a couple of those places to try to get it sold. Otherwise we can take it down to the auction too, like
I
we've
don't know
done with
where
other
that
equipment.
is.
Well, the other thing you can always do is talk to these guys and see if they'll give you more for a trade. If the other places will give you 8,800 for it, they may say, yeah, we'll bump it up.
I can try to bend that too.
I'd be happy if we get an extra 1,000 out of it. You want to just wait till the next,
Well, we have a motion, and Rich, I guess was your intention to the motion for the deal?
Well, it was for the purchase of,
All right,
not necessarily the trade-in, but the purchase of.
okay.
So we can, if you want to, we can table this until you investigate the disposal of that trailer. And then reassess at the next meeting. If you guys would prefer.
I will say they did tell me it was a 2 to 3 month lead time, so.
that give you
Awesome.
some time to try it and sell it.
So you could, with that in mind, then I guess. Say, hey, we're gonna try to sell this outright. And we'll pay you the full price. Or. We'll trade it in at that time.
Okay.
But it gives you time then to proceed with trying to dispose of it.
Okay.
But you can't dispose of it until you get the new one.
Get the new one,
trailer in.
correct. Correct, so I almost have to,
Your timing's gonna be a little delicate.
yes. Yes,
Yeah. Kind of puts the monkey wrench in gear.
well, you'd have to put it that. The sale date would be effective on the day that we
We've
receive.
got a trailer coming and we can't.
Yeah.
We can't kill it, yeah.
So,
Let's back up here. Are you rescinding your motion, Rich? Or are you leaving it on the table?
I'm leaving it on the table.
So we have motion by Rich, second by Alan. To go ahead and purchase the new excavator trailer. That Steve has preferred. Is there any further discussion on that motion alone? So it will be paying full requested price at this time. Is there any public comment? Kenny, would you conduct a roll vote, please?
Stout,
No.
Schoenberg,
No.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
There's 3 yeses, 2 nos, motion carries, by 3-2 majority. 5.3, discussion and possible action, purchase of lawnmowers for utilities and streets department. Steve Ignish, Shane Brown.
We brought this back because we did not have 3 quotes. We apologize for that. So we got the multiple quotes for the lawnmower. This is something that I have also put in the budget for this year. I know one of the concerns that you brought up last time, Jeff, was, hiring part-time help or something like that. I was never instructed to do that before, so I don't have those type of wages in the budget. So I can't do that now, but by buying this mower, it will cut the time that we use on the tractor in half. So it'll speed up our mowing. Not that we're mowing that much right now with the weather anyway, but if it does start raining, for the things that we have to do, we'll give Shane the tractor. We'll take his old one, trade it in, and then it'll be 5 years, 6 years before we would even think about coming back to ask for a mower for the utilities department. Because we'll have 2 good 0 turns at that time. And then
Just I have a 2010 that has a lot of hours on it. I was just gonna upgrade. Nobody wants it. Cause it's barking on the about 1,800 now. And the warranty's good on them Bobcats. We already got one. We can get parts really quick on them. And there's a good warranty in. I mean, there's 3 or 4 years on them. So I was just gonna upgrade, take his 1023 that only has 400 hours on it. And we get that tractor they got. And ours has 11 something, and then our Gravely has 1750. That was a while ago. So I'm guessing it's over 1,800 now. I didn't look today. We were out grinding streets. But it's a 2010 and it's got some howling going on. So I don't know how much longer it's gonna last. Thank God. Thank God we haven't had no rain. So, I mean, it's up to you guys. But that's where I stand. We're just replacing one that's got a lot of things going on with it.
Well, the last time this was on the agenda, we had a rather lengthy conversation regarding. It was basically left that the additional quotes were needed. Council, you have them in front of you now. If additional conversation and discussion is necessary, we'll take that time. Otherwise, you can move right into a decision on this.
Well, I know one of the topics that we talked about was, I think water's got a mower that's only used 8 hours a week, if I recall.
that was a rough guess that what it takes us to mow.
So if that's only used 8 hours one day, give or take, maybe a day and
It
a
would
half.
be a day and a half.
What are the odds of that flowing to streets the other 3.5 days?
With just the biggest, I guess, one of the biggest reasons that I see why it wouldn't be good. What's Mother Nature gonna do? If Mother Nature decides to turn and the grass starts growing, you know, we only have so much time in the week, and if we've got other things that we're trying to accomplish or scheduled things like door postings, stuff like that, that we have deadlines that we have to do, and we're trying to share equipment between rainstorms, it can really get to be a problem.
Well, I just hate seeing equipment set idle if we can all help it. I mean, it's all city of Anamosa equipment. To have it just sitting idle for that time frame just doesn't make sense to me.
Be nice to have it, but I think this is one of those situations where we might be better off just to make do this year and then review it again in a year. I think we can get by. I know what you're saying. It's kind of a crapshoot. But sometimes expenses we just gotta kind of watch what we're spending.
With item 5.3, I guess my preference this evening would be for council to make a motion to approve the purchase. Get a second, we'll go to vote, or we make a motion to not approve this purchase. Get a second and go to vote. I would like to see one of those two paths taking on this item, Jim.
Well, or I would say there's another option would be to just buy one mower instead of two. Because like I mentioned the last time, and I'm stealing Al's idea about vehicles, but I could see us having a mower pool instead of having Water has two mowers, one of which is always sitting idle for 3.5 days a week, where everybody's sharing. And then those hours are building up, spread out over all the mowers instead of always being, the hours are focused on maybe streets.
If you had something set up electronically where everyone had access to it and said, this mower you sign up for it, this mower we're gonna use this time frame, and you kind of schedule it out.
Right. Because I mean, right now you guys are helping each other out periodically anyway, correct?
Periodically when we have
So-
time, if Shane gets behind.
It's nice to see that because that never used to happen. It's really nice to see that.
But I think you guys could work it out on sharing those mowers too. And then it's just a matter of what department's buying the mowers and utilizing them however.
Of the mowers, which one would you think would be the most important one to purchase? If we purchase just one,
Bobcat.
Bobcat.
Yeah, we would like to buy.
But you want two of them right now, is that
That's
correct?
what we're asking for, one for each department.
You still, you got a whole package set up here now where you're gifting one to another department so you can get another mower or tractor in return to use for trade. So how are you gonna navigate all this? You were looking to get two mowers, and if it is reduced to one,
Well, but Shane was just gonna have a backup for, or to replace the Gravely, which is a zero turn already. So there was no tractor purchases with this.
So is the Gravely staying or leaving?
That's up to you guys. It
Yeah.
has no trade-in value. I mean,
They wouldn't give us nothing.
because it's too old.
Then run it
Well,
till
we
it
would,
drops.
yeah, run until it dies.
Run it till it drops. I know that sounds pathetic, but
Yeah, but then
ride the horse till it can't go any farther.
we
Well,
depend on it though too.
and how far out are you on these mowers?
They would be pretty quick turnaround. They were last time.
So we're almost, at the rate we're going for this year, almost through the mowing season.
Yeah.
That the Gravely, if we buy one for the water and the Gravely should happen to die, you could borrow the waters to get you through this year. And then you could look at doing something at streets for next year.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
Do you recall when this past winter, we bought multiple mowers, which departments got them?
So we purchased, that was,
I
So-
purchased a Massey
yeah,
and the LCC purchased a John Deere.
right, but prior to that, a year ago.
There was 3 purchased at that time.
Yeah, we purchased 3 zero turns. The LCC got one. Shane had actually asked for 2.
Yep.
And the council decided to give one to the LCC. Shane got one and we got one at that time.
Water wastewater got one.
Water wastewater.
Now water wastewater's asking for another one, and so is Jude's.
To replace, because because of the fleet we have. We don't need the tractor. We just need another zero.
in the bid, it wasn't a multiple purchase discount type scenario on this,
No,
right?
no.
So that's not gonna affect it any. So let's say we just did the water. Would you still do the trade or would you keep your 1020 or your 1023 or whatever it is you got, the John Deere tractor you were gonna trade to the water to trade in? Would you keep that then?
No, because if he gets one, then we could still trade for that tractor.
Okay,
We'll just swap it. So the old one goes. With all the hours. And then we'll keep his with the 420. And put 1,100 on it, and then we'll be back here to try and get another tractor. But I feel like they haven't used that tractor because it's not. It works good in the cemetery. Doesn't work great, but it works good. But that Massey will outdo that one and. Just it mows so much faster. And them John Deere's. It's amazing what 7, 8 years does. 6. On how the technology and everything has changed. Stuff we couldn't do before we're doing. Used to weed eat a lot. Now we're climbing right up and over. If it's really dry out, we can handle it. Deep stuff sometimes like this. Where before we couldn't.
I'm gonna move that we buy one and not 2, and let's vote and just see where we stand on it. So we can get it through this.
which department?
I think we ought to just, like you were talking, and I used to talk about this with the trucks and everything else, we should have a motor pool where everything's at, and when you need something, you get it.
It's
Lawnmowers, I think that would be a
I
good
think
way to
what
do it.
Rich is indicating is, Alan, is we need to identify which department so that comes out of that.
Okay,
But-
which department do you suggest if we bought just one?
I'll pay for it and then we'll do the trade. Shane will get the tractor and we'll take his tractor with all the hours and we'll get rid of it. Before it, because it still has. what Was it $7,000 with value?
So it'd be the wastewater.
Be water.
Water.
It'd be the utilities. It's
Utilities.
out of the water budget.
Okay, the utilities department. I move that the utilities department buys a lawnmower. And then gives the other one to street department.
Yes.
Street department does what it needs to do with it.
I'll second that.
Motion by Alan, second by Rich. Further council discussion. Public comment. Penny, would you conduct a roll vote, please?
Jombert,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Motion to purchase carried unanimously.
Thank you.
5.4, discussion of possible action. City property located at 306 North Davis Street.
I don't need to spend a lot of time on this unless council has any questions. This is the property that was a nuisance property from, it spanned, a year and a half or so, but, we did end up tearing the dilapidated structure down. At City Hall, we kind of took the liberty to reach out to the adjoining neighbors and just ask if there was any interest in acquiring that vacant property. We sent each of the property owners a letter, explained that, this was not necessarily going to happen, but we first needed to just elicit if there was any interest in it happening. We did get a response from all three adjoining property owners that said that they would be okay with splitting that or parcel up and acquiring it. I guess I'm just looking for a nod to look into what that would take with the county and kind of try to get an estimate or a cost on what we might be able to sell that if we split it three ways to each of them. And then, of course, if I get that nod, it will require getting a hold of the city attorney and drafting up some legal documents. But I guess I just want to gauge the council's interest on getting rid of that property first.
Well, I don't think it's doing us any benefit as is, so probably the sooner you can get it moved, the better it would be.
Can we just not sell it? I mean, why do we have to split it?
We don't have to split it. We were just, that was kind of the first step, trying to be neighborly and get a hold of the property owners that each had property next to it, see if there was any interest in any of them having it. And it may, depending on what we come up with, when we get a final assessed value on that, two of them may decide not to, and it may just be a sell of the whole thing to one. We just kind of wanted to feel that out and see what it would get if, we didn't want to show preference to one neighbor over another if two of them wanted it or if three of them wanted it.
Well, and it's kind of a small lot, if I remember right.
Was the discussion that it's not big enough to build.
It is, and I apologize, I didn't include the beacon map in there, but you've got a property owner that's on the back side of it, and then two on either side. So it would be kind of a unique split anyways, if we did split it.
I guess the reason I brought it up was why would we go to the expense to split something? Now that you've even kind of confirmed that it's so small, why would you even split it?
Yeah, and again, just because potentially the neighbors to either side may want, but they both may express interest in it, and then we have to choose one. So we were just giving the neighbors an opportunity to say, if you both want it, we could potentially split it and just give half to one and half to the other. Scenario such as that. So I guess at this point, and we can still do that too. We could go strictly one or three or two. I'm just looking for in case we do decide to go three, kind of give a ballpark figure to each of them of what it might cost for something like that. Yeah.
That would include in the sale, the cost of replatting the piece of property into 3 parcels or 2 parcels or whatever.
Yes.
Are we gonna try and recoup expenses from us acquiring it?
Yeah, so that's, that all falls into the, nuisance property fund. That one was acquired through, well, we started down the procedure of the dilapidated, process, property process. But through those conversations, it didn't go through the legal channels. They just, decided to sign the property over to the city. And then we did foot the bill for the demolition.
So, I'm just curious, so like, do we know what that bill is, thus far?
I do, I don't have it with me.
Sure.
The cost to demolish the structure, is basically what it was, but there was some damage to the sidewalk that was done, so that is in need of repair. We've got some residents in the neighborhood wanting to know when we're gonna fix that. Of course, we're having to maintain and mow it now. So I guess if you count those costs in, they're continuing the longer we hold on to it.
Well, I guess in my point of view, I'd like to know what the cost is involved with this, and then try to get that much money out of it instead of give it to 3 neighbors or 2 neighbors or whatever. I know we're not giving it. Why not, if we got 15,000, why not try to get 15,000? That's my thought behind that.
Well, I suppose we could always check with whatever it is that decides whether it is big enough to build on, depending on how you would structure a property.
Tiny houses.
Somebody might want to buy the whole thing.
Tiny houses have become popular, maybe somebody.
Yeah.
Put one in there.
It
Well-
contained a structure at one time.
Right.
Right,
the
but it
neighbor
was,
may
that
want it.
was pre some of the building codes that we had.
Yeah.
And we can always go that option too. I guess the main vote tonight is if the council is interested in getting rid of the property, I think is the first step here. We can't do that without the council's approval and then going through all those
Yeah.
procedures.
We need a motion for this.
Yes, we
I
should
move
have.
that City Hall goes, checks in on what costs are gonna be and what our expenses have been. And so we can make a decision as to what to sell the property for.
Second,
Motion by Alan, second by Rich. Council discussion. Public comment. Penny?
Crump,
yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Gumbert,
Yes.
Excuse me, motion to approve carried unanimous. 5.5, resolution 2023-46. Setting the date of a public hearing to consider the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation to amend zoning ordinance 167.14. Building standards, removing the prohibition of vertical colored metal siding in the C1 Central Commercial District.
I'll make a motion to set the date for a public hearing for next meeting,
July 4th.
July 24th.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Kay. Discussion. Public comment. Penny?
Smith,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Gumbert,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes,
Motion to approve carried unanimously. 5.6, review and approve. Pay request number 8 from Dave's Complete Construction in the amount of $98,828.51 for the police station renovation project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Who second? Jeff. Motion by Kay, second by Jeff. Council discussion. Public comment? Penny?
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimously. 5.7, review and approve pay request from HR Green in the amount of $942 for GIS services through June 23, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Alan. Council discussion. Public comment. Penny?
Stout,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 5.8, review and approve pay requests from Snyder and Associates in the amount of $7,809 for the US 151 grade separation and roundabout project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Jeff.
Mhm.
Council discussion. Public comment. Kenny?
Albert,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 5.9, review and approve purchase of replacement fire hose for the Anamosa Fire Department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Brooke. Council discussion.
So this is a replacement. Do they have to be replaced every so many years, or what's the reason for the replacement?
That I'm not sure about. Fire chief had contacted me this week, sent me this, requested if he could just go ahead and purchase it. But we just had a discussion about the purchasing policy. I can look into it if I need to.
Did you give this?
I'm not sure if it's,
Is there a cost on it?
yeah, so it's 2,000, it's just over the department director's authorization at $2,557.
Any other questions? Public comment? Penny?
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 5.10, review and approve the site plan for Jones County Family Dentistry Project in the proposed Northland subdivision.
So this one, I had a meeting last week, with, the potential future property owner and, his construction and engineering team, as well as a developer on this. Basically, I think we're trying to hammer out a viable solution for proceeding, forward. We talked about this a little bit, several weeks ago. We were just kind of running into some snafus with the way the subdivision plat review process was going. And we weren't going to meet the timetable for Jones County Family Dentistry to get moving. And so we've really been kind of working pretty hard to try to get this going. I know it's important to their team. And I think we came up with a solution, and the solution that we essentially came up with was to divide the single subdivision that we had received a plat review for into two separate subdivisions. According to HR Green, who's reviewing that for us, most of the barriers to proceeding in a timely manner were on the west portion, which is the opposite portion of the future Jones County Family Dentistry site. So we don't think there will be any problems with that. HR Green is currently reviewing that for us. We think that we're going to fall within this timetable, but we're cutting it real close just as far as timing, and trying to get it all to planning and zoning, and get their approval on everything. So going just a little bit out of order here. There's nothing that prohibits us from doing that. It's just essentially we're trying to get the site plan approval prior to the plat review approval process. And so this will be approval of the site plan review contingent upon approval of the overall plat review.
Move to approve the site plan view. Commensurate to the plat review. Being finished.
I'll second that.
Motion by Alan, second by Kay. Council discussion. Public comment. Penny?
Smith,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Gumbert,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 5.11, review and approve police chief recruitment, appointment timeline and application packet.
I guess this is kind of self-explanatory. I've included the timeline in here, as well as a summary of the profile. Most of this is based on the standard operating procedures for the job description of the chief of police, which is also included in here. And then the application documents, which will be required for that position, as well as the request for closed session and confidentiality that will go along with that. I'm open to suggestions. Otherwise, either as they are or with required modifications, I can get that posted tomorrow.
Move to approve the plan as presented.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Alan. Discussion. Public comment. Penny, please.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Gumbert,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 6.0, new business. 6.1, review and approve noise street closure permit application.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Rich. Council discussion. Public comment. Penny, please.
Stout,
Yes.
Gumbert,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 6.2, review and approve current bills.
As I mentioned, this is just arranged a little bit different. We arranged this by fund. We were hoping maybe it would clean it up a little bit, but we're looking for feedback as well. We thought when we were looking at it the other day, it made it a little more readable, but if you would like to return to the other arrangement, we sure can. All the same information is included in here. Like I said, it's just arranged a little bit different.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Alan. Any further council discussion on the bills as they were submitted? Penny, please.
Gumbert,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Motion
To approve payment carried unanimous. 7.0, city administrators report.
I only have a couple of things. Heather Weirs stopped by City Hall this last week. She wanted to drop off this book that the council helped with. And if I could just take a minute, she just included this with it. She said, "City council members, thank you so much for supporting and helping fund the ABCs of Jones County. In appreciation, we would like the city council to have a book. Whatever you do with it is up to you. It was so much fun to collaborate with the great people, with a great group of people to write this book, and we could not have done it without your help. So please know we are extremely grateful. A free book was given to all kindergarten, first grade students in Jones County. A free book was also given to all elementary school and public libraries in Jones County, along with registered daycares. This book is being sold at Thou Art, Savor the Barn, and the Whiffle Tree. Again, thank you so much for your support and all you do. This is Heather Weir's Every Child Reads Jones County. And the Jones County Community Foundation always took part in that. So she just wanted to say thanks. We were talking today about trying to figure out a place that we can put it, maybe a display case or something with things of this nature that we'd be able to showcase at some point in time. The only other thing, shout out to the firefighters. Fire chief was not able to be in attendance tonight. He has another meeting, but he wanted to make sure that we just said, in partnership with Weaver Stone, they made the parking lot look as nice as it is with the fundraising proceeds. And anybody who's driven by there, I think, would agree it looks pretty good. So.
Also have any questions, or direction for Jeremiah? Thanks, Jeremiah, for the report. 8.0 Mayor and Council reports. 8.1 Mayor's report. I have none. 8.2 Council reports. 9.0 Public comment for items not on the agenda. 10.0 adjournment. This evening's meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.